Definitely 20 minutes transcendental meditation. I like to start my day with that because, and a lot of people get confused around morning routine. So when I say morning routine, it doesn't mean I wake up and it's the first thing I do. I would like to think of it as my first appointment with myself before I do anything else. So I might spend the first hour of my day with Kelly, having a coffee, pulling a couple of angel cards, talking about what we're going to do for lunch and dinner. That's not part of my routine. It's just a connecting thing. The first appointment I have with myself is when I put in like that 40 minutes of like high vibe tools. So it's 20 minutes TM because I like to really clear out any of that chitter chatter and make space. And then I go into something I call I know rants. So instead of like gratitude rants, it's like I choose to vibrate in the reality where I know the universe loves me. I know I'm a magnet to my soulmate clients. I know my marketing machine is fucking strong. I know. And I'm literally just like embodying that certainty from within instead of looking externally for the sales or the money or the validation to give me and cultivating within. And then I go into something, it sounds corny, but I go into something called the magical script where I literally speak into existence my life, but I write it in the present moment. And I talk about all the different areas of life and what's happening in the here and now. I used to put a date on it. So I used to be like, it's now the 1st of October, 2020, and like backtrack. But now I just like to speak it into existence in the present moment, into the now. And it's like kind of like this beautiful abracadabra, right? Abracadabra comes from a Hebrew saying we create what we speak. So it's like ingraining the subconscious mind of what is here in the now, here in the now. So they're my main backups. That's what I do
what sort of stuff might you say in that bit?
Yeah. So it's like, holy shit, life is so beautiful right now. Feels so good to be alive. I finally landed. I've shifted. I love being me. I love waking up being me. My mastermind now has 50 beautiful soulmate clients in it, and they show up to all of the live trainings and they're fucking getting extraordinary results. And Kelly and our relationship has soared to new levels, and my body is fully shifted because I'm trying to get on the, like getting my health in order now.
Yeah.
Full transparency. One of the areas I've always struggled with in my life. So do not ever work with me to help your health. That's not my expertise.
Yet.
I love it.
Give me some time.
So I talk about my body and how it's rapidly adjusting to its natural ideal shape and what's in alignment is melting off. So yeah, and that feels really good for me, and just like speaking it with such conviction. And what I actually also do is in my boombox, I play like really beautiful emotive music. It's kind of like, and it just helps me open up my heart. And as you know, like your point of attraction is in the now. Like how you're feeling right now is literally attracting the very next thing. You can't feel shit in the now and expect to create financial freedom or attract the love of your life if you're in that void. So the way I'd like to start my day, it's very much being practices, feeling practices. I've really shifted away from the mind stuff, but actually if I know I've had that 20 minutes or half an hour where I feel amazing, holy shit, like I've just set up my day for an awesome day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's such a powerful distinction. Like in the morning doing things that make you feel a certain way, so you carry that into the day. That's really powerful, because a lot of the time, and this is something that I noticed that was interesting, is a lot of people feel like good feeding on the drama of like the news, but then when they're on Instagram, they leave feeling disempowered because on the news they're showing a bunch of pain and misery and suffering and crap.
Never thought of that.
Yeah, it's something that I always was kind of thought about and was confused about. And it's like people would leave there feeling like crap, feeling great when they watch the news. Then they go on Instagram and they leave there feeling crap because they go
into comparison. Yeah,
exactly. Versus like the comparison of like, all this shit's going on in the world. My life's so good, but they don't. It just kind of is that comparison.
Yeah.
And a lot of people all the time when I would get in my head and I'm thinking about what I want to create in the future.
Yeah.
Like if I do planning and stuff like that,
yeah.
it can excite me, but also can create that contrast where it's like, this morning I'm going to get myself revved up so I can create something outside of where I currently am. And I'm not yet that. Yes. I'm always playing for the future. And so that's really, really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I think that for me, I remember being on winning international webinars, and you'd be like, cool, like what's been one of your wins, And I think on one of the webinars I dropped in like, my win, I've been implementing a 3-hour morning routine. And everyone was like, what's your 3-hour morning routine? But I literally spend like 2.5 to 3 hours every morning. This is just after I quit my job, right? So I went from 40 hours in a desk job. So I'm like, what am I going to do with all this extra time? Like, obviously I've got a business to build, but I've got like all this time to like work on me. And it would be like run beach, isn't it? And like, and so literally spending those 2.5 to 3 hours every single day is what I think really changed and had me grow so rapidly, because I was already in the feeling state of like, my life is so magical, it's perfect. And I was already feeling where I wanted to be 10 years from now. Now, do I spend 3 hours a day? No, because now it's in maintenance and I just pick and choose really potent things that I know maintain my vibration, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's very different to the average client that comes in that quits their job, because you did fantastically well in our program because you were such a great implementer and this vibe work that you did on yourself. But we would have people that would come into the process, quit their job, and even though they had way more time, they would make less progress than what they made when they're working on their business outside hours, because they went, well, if I'm quitting my job, this has to work. What if it doesn't work? And their whole psychology changed to being in fear and contraction. And so even though they had the whole week free, they'd spend less time on their rituals, less time on their routines, because they were like, it's got to work. And then they're always chasing, trying to get the action done. But because their vibe's so low, their belief is so low, the action is done with an ounce of self-sabotage, and people feel that.
Energy doesn't lie, right? If you're taking action from a place of not enoughness or I've got to prove, and what stands out for me from that is, you know, it's give me the thing first and then I'll feel good. Give me the evidence first. Give me the symbol of success first, and then I'll believe that this program works. Then I'll believe in myself. Then I'll believe in myself. And it's like, well, no, you've got this, like, you're trapped in the cycle of insanity. You've got to reverse that, because you're actually giving away your personal power again to something external to you. It's about actually, you know, feeling it first, knowing it, and then knowing that by law of attraction, that's when it's going to flow into your life.
Yeah. It's taken me so long to give myself permission, i.e. get to the level of self-worth where I actually give myself permission to do the things that I enjoy doing now in the scope of the business. Like this interview, I love this interview. Like I'm having the best time. This is where I love vibing, having high vibe convos, talking about personal development, spiritual development. But I always saw this as like a luxury, a fun in the business. And I would always, because I had like it was a little bit of a masochist, which a lot of like high driving achievers are, where they feel like they deserve to go through the trenches and it should always be hard. I was always pushing myself to do things that I felt were the hardest, as opposed to doing the things that gave me that energy and that feeling of joy, love, vibing at that higher level.
And that's not to say that, you know, for the newbies potentially listening to this going, oh, I'm just going to like, you know, meditate on my navel all day and my business will grow. It's like, okay, finding that perfect balance, because at the start I did have to actually look at my bullshit to-do list and actually do the things that were going to propel me forwards first, you know, like, you know, create the program, do that sales call. And it was scary. Like I had a belief at the start, like I don't know how to sell. I'm not a salesperson. And so, you know, really looking at what's your gap and knowing the more that you actually delve into it. But I think what we're really trying to land here is taking the action, pushing yourself, stretching your comfort zone, but also encompassing the high vibe practices that you're taking action from a place of feeling inspired instead of feeling void and not enoughness and feeling in fear and scarcity.
Yeah, because it was still scary for you to do your first seminar.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that popped into my mind at the start of this convo, but I haven't brought it up yet. But one of the reasons that you were able to initially create movement and momentum in your business and then start to normalize that courage was you put yourself in a position where it was mandatory by signing up to do a seminar. What was it? Do you want to give us a scope of what it was?
Yeah. So basically after about 3 months of consistent meditation, I woke up one morning and it was like, you should do an event. It was a really loud, like really clear download, intuitive nudge, gut feeling, whatever you want to call it. And then basically it was like, right, got my angel cards out and one flew out and said, speeches and speaking, you are a messenger. I was like, right, well, that's it, right? I've got to do it. So I'm literally booked out my event, this would cost me $3,500. It held 500 people in Melbourne. I'm like, sweet, I'm going to fill this out, and launched a funnel and made a $30 price point to come to my events. And it was just insane. I had nothing to sell, no program set up. I was like, I'm just going to be a speaker. And it was actually crazy. I ended up getting my shit together and got I think it was 85 people in the room, which is pretty extraordinary for the first time.
It is amazing.
But it's kind of again, putting the sort of, what am I trying to say? The thing in the sand, the peg in the sand. I choose, I make a decision. This is it. And then everything after that was just so easy. So maybe the first thing that everyone needs to do here is actually stretch themselves a little bit even more beyond.
Yeah.
Comfortable. And then, actually everything after that feels kind of easy.
Well, what I get people to do is getting the apex point between what scares people and excites them. Because if it's scary and it's like, well, Alex did an event, I should do an event, or Ryan's doing a podcast, I should do that, and it scares me. Because that alignment is so important. If it feels like it's just not you, then that's a different story. But if it feels like you and you're putting off doing it, because for Alex, she knew that she needed to do an event. You knew that you had to do that event, but it still scared the crap out of you. But it was a process and a mix of excitement and fear. And then once you did it, you mentioned, and then I ended up getting my shit together. Well, you had to get your shit together because you'd made that call, but you wouldn't have got the shit together first and then started organizing it all and then made the decision. You made the decision and then all the other stuff came.